Good morning, folks, for guys, and everything in between and beyond. This is Roy speaking, the host of Mahapanies, and these are going to be, this is going to be my worthless half a penny part 49. We're almost breaking into 50. Raph and his lovely family and lovely dog is on vacation, and therefore I am still winging it. He's a great content creator, and if anything ever comes out of this channel, which I don't think it will, but who knows? Maybe something comes out of this channel, somebody finds this content charming, or I'm finally able to bring a guest who's not camera shy and who actually wants to talk about Miami Heat without talking just utter trash. That'll be great, but otherwise it's not necessary. It's all good. But if I ever get a cent, he gets half a penny. So that's why my worthless half a penny may not be excuse me, wow, as worthless as it is. I'm not going to stop recording because of that. I tried already too many times. Okay, so in these, normally what we do is we talk about stats, we talk about on and off the court, and I think some of the points are still interesting, and there are some ideas that could still be talked. Like I said, what's the rating when you have either Wear Bam, but you also have Jovic and Highsmith inserted into the lineup versus when you don't have Jovic inserted in the lineup versus when you don't have Highsmith inserted in the lineup, providing the defensive help, and you have somebody else there. Those are interesting stats to find out, but at the same time, it does not really explain the state that we are right now, because as we said, we are in a state of suspense. Our state of suspense continues. We don't know what's going to happen with us as of now, and we have at least a few discussions when it comes to what we do have and when it comes to what we're probably not going to get rid of. And those are discussions that I think that are worth noting, at least for the sake of consistency and just keeping recording, basically, because if this is what we want to do, then we should just do it right. The first and foremost thing is, of course, Jimmy Butler. And as it comes to Jimmy Butler, the one thing that I can think of is what Charles Barkley said when he said that he doesn't understand how a person cannot get that you get paid as a star, you get a lot of money, but then there comes a point in your career when your age shows your decline. And even if the physicality is still there, the age still shows your decline, and the player doesn't understand load management, and the player doesn't understand taking a pay cut for the benefit of the club. I'm not even going to talk about what Jimmy Butler himself said in terms of that he would not mind money, that he would want to be responsible for the team, and that he would want to see the team succeed, that he wants to retire in Miami. All those things Jimmy Butler said, and now whatever is happening. And the only thing that I can say is that I'm very sorry for the real journalists out there who have to say, and those that say that, I commend them, have to say, I don't know. A lot of them, all of them are going to say, I hear, I heard, but I hear, I heard, and anonymous sources are not sources. We don't know what Jimmy Butler is thinking. The truth is, we don't quite know what Pat Riley is thinking. We understand the position of the front office. We understand that we don't want to get nothing for Jimmy Butler. We understand that we want to get the value that we are expected is not there, likely. When I say likely, because who knows, maybe there is a miracle out there, but likely, meaning a 99% chance that the value that Jimmy Butler's trade had to us is not there right now for him. Is not there because of his attitude, but he's not there also because he does not play over 50 games a regular season, right? And that does matter to NBA coaches, to NBA managers. It unfortunately does. I mean, do the playoffs matter more? Yes, they do. But can you imagine Tatum getting the same kind of limelight that he gets playing only 50 games a season and not getting criticized by that? Anyway, I think the franchise fumbled it. We already talked about that. They could have, instead of not offering the extension, either offered extension or already talked about a trade. But that's a fumble also by Jimmy. And to be honest with you, when I talk with people, I see that they are divided. People say that the franchise failed Jimmy. Some others say that Jimmy failed the franchise. But at the same time, neither of those are things that make complete an entire sense without the entire context of what exactly happened with Jimmy Butler. What is he thinking? What's going on? And what is the front office thinking? What's going on? They're thinking about bringing him back. He wants to be traded to every other team other than Miami, but then now it's only Phoenix. Phoenix wants to maybe get rid of the no trade clause for Bill if the perfect opportunity arises. And right now, they don't see Jimmy Butler as being that perfect opportunity. So there are certain things that we just don't know. We don't know how it's going to play out. Unfortunately, we have under a month to the trade deadline, which helps us at least get a notion whether or not it's going to be moved and for what. But until then, it's very difficult really to gauge what the situation is. Could Jimmy Butler play and be engaged in the team? I would not play him. I wouldn't. I simply wouldn't. However, if he does play, it could mean that the relationship could be patched. Again, don't know. Now, let's talk a little bit about Bam Adebayo. A lot of people are now realizing something that I realized some time ago and I never said it, and now I want to be clear about it because the truth is that I don't want to say I thought it, but I never said it before. When I say something, I say it. I don't say it. I don't say it. Hindsight is 2020. But that's not hindsight. I really thought about it. I secretly thought that Bam Adebayo had a ceiling. And I heard people comment and say that he has a ceiling, but what they say is that his ceiling is low, which is just not the case. But he does have a ceiling, and his ceiling offensively is that ceiling, and his ceiling defensively is that ceiling. He's not even near either of those on either end of the court this season. And there are other things that we are obviously thinking, hey, we could have issues with. But the truth is that they're just, again, right, when we're talking about things, the way that our team is dealing with some nights, and it of course depends on the matchup. On some nights, Bam shows up and it takes care of business. On some stretches of the game, Bam shows up and it takes care of business. But there are just too many nights in which it doesn't show up and he doesn't take care of business, and he's not even the most relevant player on the defensive end, which is not what we want from Bam. Without Jimmy Butler, Bam's exposure is going to be maximum, and I think that, and maximized. And I think that this is where we are. We are in a situation in which Bam's play style is underexposure. But I want to be clear. I don't think his ceiling is as low as what he's playing right now. Bam is not a bum. He's a great player. There is still an argument to be made that he's playing out of position, even though he's established himself as a center, and I find it very hard for him to go to a power forward position. But he is a lot better than this offensively. However, it is understandable when some analysts say that he needs to feed off someone, and maybe that someone isn't Herro. And this season, it hasn't been Duncan Robinson either. And on very few occasions, Herro. And on some occasions, Duncan Robinson, but not consistently. However, I would still want Bam with us, and I would still want to see what Bam can do. Obviously, Bam's contract doesn't look good when he's not playing up to it. But if you look at the entirety of the season, can you blame Bam? Do you know what's going on in the locker room? We talked about maybe Spo lost the locker room, and then the other game they came out fighting, and okay, they didn't lose the locker room. But then all of a sudden we lose Jimmy Butler. Then all of a sudden we see us dropping 2 games against the Pacers and against the Jazz that were just embarrassing. Both games, regardless of how much more embarrassing the Jazz game was. By the way, if you have Markkanen, Kessler today on rebounds, anything above 10, meaning 10.5, take it. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can say is that it looks like a it doesn't look like an inconsistent team. It looks like a bipolar team. It looks like a team that is ready to beat any team on a given night and then ready to lose to a team by a lot on other nights. And that's exactly where we stand with Bam. Bam is supposed to be the anchor. The team's supposed to be the cornerstone of the franchise, even without Jimmy Butler. Things that we were talking about before now, because we knew that Jimmy Butler's extension wasn't coming up and that would be an issue. And all of that is well, and all of that is understood. but at the same time, it is very concerning, and we don't know what's going on. As it pertains to Tyler Herro, that's the other player that I want to talk about. He is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. For the first time, I think he is able to cash his checks, being healthy, playing the games, getting to his rhythm and flow sometimes at different gears, and not being able to, for example, he wasn't able to help us beat the Kings in second overtime because of how tired he was. It wasn't just him. It was the entire team. The entire team was gassed. The truth is, the double overnight is a brutal thing to happen. And then they come against the Warriors the next night. They look refreshed. They look well. In just a few instances, Herro doesn't look as well. But it still looked like, it looked like a game that they had some struggles, but mostly it was just, okay, if we just put it up a little bit of a gear, we can do that. And they did. And we are not 17-18, but 18-17. So that's the moral of the story. Obviously, Tyler Herro being our most important player during the regular season, it remains to be seen what we can expect of him. First of all, with this current build, we can't expect anything of anyone. Not even of the players that we don't like, because they're not fitting. Even if they're not fitting, they're not doing well with us, but they could do well with another team, such as Terry Rozier. I don't know how injured Jay Rich is, so I don't want to comment on that. I think that it's a different thing, just like K Love is not injured, right? I don't want to comment on that. But yeah. And yeah, that's basically it. I have nothing else to add. I don't look forward to the game tonight, in the sense of I don't know. I mean, I actually do. I always do. I always look forward to the games. I like watching them, but then if it gets to a certain point, it gets annoying, it gets depressing. But in general, I like watching them because I want to see what kind of team comes. And it's normally, we can see that normally toward the middle of the second quarter and until the middle of the third quarter. We kind of understand what kind of team came to play. The rest of it is whether or not they're able to close it, which, again, I don't know what's going to happen. So, if we're looking forward to our next confrontations, which are going to be, let me see, Heat games, our next confrontations, oh Lord, I don't know why it did that to me, but normally does that, are going to be against the Trail Blazers and the Clippers away, as games 4 and 5 of this away trip, and then against the Lakers to finish up. So we actually still have 3 games that are after 10 p.m. 10 p.m. against the Trail Blazers, 10:30 p.m. against the Clippers, 10 p.m. against the Lakers. Those are the 3 games that consist the 36th, 37th, and 38th games of the season. Played the Nuggets at home on the 17th, and then the Spurs on the 19th. That completes game 39 and 40 of before the next My Worthless of a Penny. It's still before the trade deadline. It's still we don't know if there's going to be anything happening before the next My Worthless of a Penny. So we don't know if Raf is going to come back. He said that he's going to try to stay away until things materialize because he can't even understand or begin to understand what's happening with the team. I'm kind of with him a little bit, except I cannot imagine the Miami Heat playing and me not watching. The only thing that I could do is last game I watched until the fourth quarter, about 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. Once I got tired enough, I went to sleep because I need to work. Unlike Jimmy Butler, I cannot demand more money nor a trade to a better company. Although I don't think that that's the case. Not putting any shadow on my company. My work is pretty solid. It's just I'm not getting paid $50 million a year. I don't think I'm worth it, but I'm not getting paid $50 million a year. Stay safe, stay dry, stay as happy as possible in this very complicated world of ours. Let's go Heat.